Hey, howdy, hey, everyone, and welcome in to another edition of the Nick&Nash podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Matt Nash, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Nick Calvacca. Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good today. I know I'm going to have to hear it from you about some of my bad predictions, but I'm looking forward to the show. Sorry we couldn't make it Wednesday. Some things happened, some things came up, but I'm glad to be back.
We're we're getting this show out every day that we can right now. Just like we said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of hurdles we have to jump through. But you know, we love doing the show. We're committed to it, and we hope you all like it and then continue to watch. Now, without further ado, let's hop into it. Was Julio Jones traded when we did the last show?
Yes, we touched on it to start, but we didn't get too much into it. We were
Okay.
mainly focusing on basketball.
Yeah. Well, Julio Jones has been traded to Julio Jones has been traded to the Tennessee Titans for a second, a fourth, and a sixth round pick, which is not a lot of value for a guy that's been arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL for the last 7 years. What do you think? Where do you stand
Well,
on the value here?
well, here's my problem with it. Well, here's why I'm okay with it. I should say. You know, this is what a lot of guys get now, wide receivers. The value. You look at DeAndre Hopkins when he went to Arizona. Everyone was calling for Bill O'Brien's job and making jokes on Twitter, which maybe should have been partly true. But as you see with the Julio Jones trade, this is what you get. You don't get a ton of value, especially for a guy even at Julio Jones's caliber. We're looking at a guy who we touched on it last show, doesn't play a whole lot. He's off the field a ton. And I mean, let's face it, you look at the DeAndre Hopkins trade, this is what you get. That they practically got a bag of footballs for him over in Houston. So, I mean, I don't hate it. Could they have got a little more for Julio Jones? Maybe. But that just goes to show you maybe the market wasn't so high. Maybe teams. I mean, we saw it on. It was on Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp's show, I believe, when they went live with Julio on the phone, and Julio said, "I'm out of here, man."
Hmm.
So the world knew he was leaving Atlanta. The world knew
Yeah.
he wanted to leave. Maybe the Falcons' phones weren't blowing up the way the media is making it sound like. Let's just face it.
I mean, I believe that the statement was no single team offered a first round pick for Julio, which is
Yeah.
bizarre to me. Like I had one of my friends was like, if I was the Packers GM, I would have given them a first round pick in a heartbeat if that was all it took.
Yeah, I
Go ahead and
mean,
get Aaron Rodgers some targets, make him happy.
it's a league. It's a league now of athletes. Back in the day when our parents were watching football and stuff, if you had a guy, if you had an athlete like that who could just get open at will, run a ridiculous 40, things
Mm.
along those lines, you had to steal him. You had to grab him. But now with all the athletes today, you can get a receiver who's gonna, he might be the fastest. I mean, you look at DJ Metcalf, like DK Metcalf.
DJ Metcalf.
It's
Add it
like
to the list of
unbelievable.
names. Add
I
it
know.
to the list of names.
Added to the list of names. It's unbelievable the athletes we have today. You can get a receiver in the third, fourth round who might end up being a top 10 receiver in the league, and he's gonna be flash. He's gonna outrun everyone and outjump everyone. So
Okay, well let's qualify that a little bit. The
go
only
ahead.
reason why DK fell to the bottom of the second round was because his cornering speed was slower than Tom Brady's. All right. Yeah,
Of course.
physically he was better than everybody else, but he couldn't turn. And then he got to Seattle. They trained him to be able to turn, and he could turn. He went there at the back of the second round. People were like, what is it? One of my roommate is a huge Seattle Seahawks fan, right? He
Mhm.
was terrified the Seahawks were going to take him early. Terrified of it. And then he sank to the bottom of the second round and he said, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, just to my point though, like you look even a guy like Odell Beckham,
Mm-hmm.
he's not a first round draft pick. He's a guy. But here you are. You're the Giants. You need a receiver, and you look around. You go right to the SEC, and you say, How about the Beckham kid from LSU? And then, boom, you find yourself just a
Mhm.
tremendous athlete with a ton of upside. So I guess what I'm saying is receivers' value isn't what it used to be in this league of athletes. I don't know. I guess you disagree, but I just feel like at this point you can grab receivers at will. The problem is getting the quarterback, getting protection for your quarterback, and getting a pass rush.
I mean, you can argue that you can get receivers at will, but to get truly generational receivers, you have to go in the first round for that. And Julio Jones is nothing short of a generational receiver. And I think the next 4 years of his career are going to hold up with what we've seen so far, especially when he's got Ryan Tannehill throwing him the ball now. Say what you want about the 64-yard playoff game that he had. All right.
I like Ryan Tannehill.
I like Ryan Tannehill as well, and it fits perfectly. I actually don't understand how the Titans' system works because when they had Mariota, they couldn't protect their quarterback. And Ryan Tannehill was notorious for getting injured 2 weeks into the year. Now, I don't remember the last time he's missed a game, and the Titans have one of the best pass protections in the league while barely upgrading their O-line. So,
I'll tell you why. Here's what: if Sam Darnold with Carolina plays out of his mind, if we see a Tannehill situation with Sam Darnold, he gets to the playoffs with that team and performs well. Adam Gase goes down as the worst quarterback coach in the history of the NFL. Right or wrong?
I mean, you're not wrong.
If Sam Darnold balls out and gets a multi-million-dollar, big deal like Tannehill did and wins a couple playoff games, and you got to put Adam Gase in the top 3 worst quarterback coaches of all time.
Yeah. I mean, I already have him in the worst coaches category of all time,
Well,
personally, but this man couldn't even lose correctly. But neither here nor there. All right, well, I think we should go ahead and start talking about basketball. We both have some gloating to do here, and yes, you have some gloating to do too. I'm not going to let you just slip away. You were right.
Do I?
Yeah, you predicted the Suns whooping the Nuggets, and they did.
I did.
See? So start gloating, all right? You get your gloating in, then I'm going to gloat for like 35 minutes, okay?
It got overshadowed from my losers.
Yes, you had some pretty bad picks. So let's go ahead and get into it and go ahead and start gloating about this Suns-Nuggets series.
You want me to start?
Go ahead, man. You're the one who picked this. It's only right.
I just felt like, and it's not even so much gloating. It's a little disappointment, maybe, if that's the word, because because I said this. The Blazers they really upset me. They always do. And like I really wanted to watch Lillard and McCollum and Nurkic. I really wanted to watch a series with those boys going at Devin Booker and Ayton and obviously CP3. I thought that was going to be a great matchup. From some of my favorite players in the league, as you know, on Portland, and some rising stars in Phoenix, along with CP3. And I was really looking forward to that series. And when Denver beat Portland, I kind of just felt like it was a letdown for me because I don't see, and it's still a long series. I'm not saying this is over, but I didn't see this Denver team without Jamal Murray. I didn't see this Denver team moving past the second round into the conference finals. It felt like too much to overcome. It felt like they got a little bit of a break playing Portland in the first round, being that Portland doesn't play any defense. Portland historically struggles in the playoffs. I mean, let's face it. And I think they got a little bit of a break there. But that's just how I feel. Not too much gloating. I did pick Phoenix to kind of control the series and win it in 4 or 5. But, I wish – I got to tell you, Matt, I wish we were watching Dame and Devin Booker just go head-to-head right now. It's 40 apiece. I really do.
And to your credit, I feel like watching that would actually – the series would be a lot different if it was Portland because this is about matchups right here is what we're seeing. Now, obviously, I stand by the statement that DeAndre Ayton couldn't guard a stick stuck in mud, but
he's hanging in.
He's doing all right. I mean, Jokic is kind of doing what he wants. Jokic isn't going off for 50, but I feel like that's also regards to the rest of the team doing their part. Sorry, there's actually thunder outside my apartment right now, so
Oh, you're
if
good.
I randomly disconnect, it's because the power went out.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it over here, but yeah. Back to this. Well, it's just kind of matchups is what it feels like to me. It feels like it's just a lot of matchups working well, and obviously the Nuggets don't have half the guys that they want. They don't have Jamal Murray. I don't think Will Barton was even back for last game either.
I think he was.
Was he? Let me take a gander here at
I think he
this.
was.
Oh, okay, he was. He played 16 minutes. Good. Again,
He
I can't
was,
watch
yeah.
the games, so
I know. You still haven't texted me from my Watch
yeah,
ESPN.
I gotta do that. I gotta do that. I'm gonna do that after this, but I need my fix, dude. I'm losing it over here. Okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, we see a case of again, who's disappearing for the Nuggets. It's Michael Porter Jr. He's not showing up. He's supposed to be Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant.
Very inconsistent.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's not disappearing like this. Michael Porter Jr. has combined for 26 points over the last 2 games. Right now, that's not bad. It's not bad for a role player. That's not good for a star.
Yep.
He's not consistent enough. He's not getting it done. He's not achieving the way he needs to be achieving. If he wants to garner the respect that he says he garners, it's just not going right now. And now I will speak to this. I'm excited to talk about this. The Phoenix Suns. I didn't see it before because I wasn't paying attention to the Suns. I just kind of wrote them off during the Lakers series. But now that I've actually had to pay attention to them and view them as legitimate contenders, I see why. All right. My concern with them was that they never really had anyone who was scoring a lot. Obviously, Devin Booker will go off occasionally and get his buckets. But in games where they win and they really control it from the jump ball to the final buzzer, no one really scores. It just kind of like someone's going to lead the team in scoring. I don't know. Like if you're a bettor, you don't want to bet for who's going to have the most points on the Suns because it's a cluster. You don't know who's going to win. Like in game 1, Mikal Bridges led the team in scoring with 23. All right. The starters had 23, 21, 21, 20, and 14, respectively. Okay. Then let's look at game 2. In game 2, we see exactly the same thing. The starters had 18, 17, 16, 15, and 11. All right. Yep. It's just strange that this team, you don't need one guy to go off and get buckets for you because the whole team scores. It's scoring by committee. Now, if you get into a dogfight, if you get into a shootout, this is where I think the matchup plays in for the Blazers. If you get into a dogfight or a shootout,
Paul-esque.
Exactly, it's Chris Paul-esque. But if you get into a dogfight with a team like the Blazers, no defense being played, you just got to start running the score up. They can't really keep up as much, and it gets a lot harder to score with that. So what we see here is a little bit of the unfortunate side of things. I feel like the Nuggets are trying to play this a little bit too straight up. At this point, just play offense because they're playing good offense and you're trying to do too much. So I mean, again, this is what my blinded eyes can see here. Hear no evil, see no evil. But it really feels like they need to go ahead and make some changes here. And I like Mike Malone. I'm sure he can make some changes going into Denver and whatnot. But they're gonna need some luck to come back in this.
Denver's favored in Game 3.
How much though?
1.5. So it's
that's like an even line. That's like an even line. I'm not.
But they are telling you they got a shot, so they're not writing them off. Even though games 1 and 2 weren't pretty and they lost by a pretty significant amount, they're not writing them off. I just want to say one thing. Chris Paul, so efficient. Like you're just looking at the stat line now. Plus 26 in this plus minus, which was the second highest on the team. But 17 points, 6 for 10, 2 for 2 from 3, 5 rebounds, 15 assists, and here's the big one: 0 turnovers. 0. I mean, that's like the most efficient. Like this is what people don't realize is he might not light it up for you, like you said. They don't necessarily always have one guy scoring 40 unless it is Devin Booker, but like just one of the most efficient players in this league, always has been. I mean, and just seems like he never gets the credit. Never can even get that MVP kind of nomination. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
It's
he
like,
used to garner MVP, considerations and whatnot, and then people realized that something always seems to happen to him. Right, we're approaching critical point right here. All right, we're approaching the tipping point for Chris Paul, because what we're gonna see here is we're gonna see, can Chris Paul overcome the Chris Paul curse?
yeah,
Will he ever be able to make it out of the Western Conference Finals? Because he's never been able to,
yeah,
ever, ever. It's a curse. It's always there. Something always goes wrong for him.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to see. It's looking like uh, Jazz Suns possibly, and for one, I did not really at the start of this playoffs. I didn't think that was even a possibility. I mean, these are two completely young teams. I know they're the 1 and 2 seeds, but it wasn't a real 1 and 2. It was they had the third, fourth, fifth best odds in the conference to move on and win it. But you see what happens when LeBron goes out, things open up. We find the Clippers down 2-0 in their series again. Things are just wide open right now out west. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yep, it's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens. See how it's gonna shake things up. One of my favorite things in the NBA is always change, which is why I love off seasons. I love this off season that's coming up right now. Yeah, I really can't wait to see who goes where and how teams build their rosters and whatnot. And
Yeah,
currently we're seeing the end of last year's process of building your roster, where we get to see how it worked out. We get to see the culmination of it. And two of the best put together rosters are the Suns and the Jazz. The Suns have a ton of role players. All right.
can I throw a third team in there?
Sure.
Atlanta.
That one just feels like it's more stars. They didn't really that one feels like, all right, so here's where I see this, all right? The Suns roster is built up of 3 guys you know and a bunch of guys you don't know. The Jazz roster is built up of 3 guys you know, depending on if you know Mike Conley, and then a bunch of guys you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks are built up of big name, big name, big name, big name, big name, big Trae Young, I think this one's Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, John Collins, and then you've got Lou Williams, and I think there's
Gallo.
Yep, Danilo Gallinari. That's 6 names. And then, yeah, you also have DeAndre Hunter and Kevin Huerter on the side, but those guys aren't important to the team. I mean, they play a role, but it's not a big role. Onyeka Okongwu comes off the bench. He's pretty good, but they're not they're headlined by 6 guys.
What about your buddy, Tony Snell?
Shut up. Shut up. There's a reason he was able to get in the 50-50-100 club. It's because he doesn't play.
Well,
But, you could argue the Hawks are in that list as well. I'll give it to you. But what I was saying was, the Suns have an incredible roster that they have built up, and Monty Williams has brain trusted this thing into existence. Where he said, I know how to use you, and you. I know how to do this, and that. Monty Williams is an incredible head coach, and I would have been fine with him or Tibbs winning Coach of the Year. I thought he already won Coach of the Year, and then Tibbs won it. I don't understand how that worked.
No. Tibbs won Coach of the Year.
No. He did, but it got announced twice. Where three weeks ago, Monty Williams was announced as the winner of Coach of the Year, and then they announced this week that it was Tibbs, and so Monty Williams never won it. After all, it was weird, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna judge it. Tibbs got it deservedly. Among the list, yeah, exactly. Flip of a coin on that one. I'm willing to give it to him. But Monty Williams, to his credit, has done an incredible job with the Sun squad. I mean, these guys didn't even they were so bad they couldn't even make the freaking play-in for the bubble, during the bubble last year. I mean, they went 8-0, but they still didn't get there.
Yeah. And we can move off of this, but I do want to say one thing. It is flip a coin. I said on the record they were my 1 and 2 for Coach of the Year, but in my opinion, not because I'm a Knicks fan, you gotta just roll with the guy. At the end of the day, Yeah, the Suns weren't great last year, but you got to roll with the guy who's dealing with his three stars are Randall, Barrett, and
Pick a number.
yeah, At the end of the
Derrick
day,
Rose.
Monty Williams does have an assistant coach in Chris Paul, and he does have a bona fide star in Devin Booker. So you kind of gotta lean Knicks there. I think you gotta lean Tibbs a little bit, but not because I'm a Knicks fan. That's just my opinion.
Hmm. It feels a little bit Nickish in there. It feels a little bit like a Nick fan. I'm not gonna lie to
I
you.
don't know,
It
man.
feels a
We
little
don't
bit
have
like
a
a Nick
Devin
fan.
Booker. We don't have a Chris Paul,
You're also not the number 2 seed in the West.
but we were 4 in the East.
Yeah, you were. Look where that got you.
Got us, yeah, right back
Swift
home.
first round exit, gentleman's sweep. Get the broom, put a handlebar on it, top hat, you're good, and a
Yeah,
little monocle. All right, well, now I was talking about the two head coaches, Monty Williams and then Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder being the head coach of the Jazz, the second most well put together roster in my opinion. So let's go ahead and transition to talk about the Jazz, shall we? Well, actually, before we move on from the Suns Nuggets, let's mention Nikola Jokic won MVP, deservedly so.
definitely.
They made a good choice. Did you see Derrick Rose got a first place vote?
Yes, he did.
That was the fan vote.
He did.
That was the fans' one vote. We use it on Derrick Rose. Oh, Lord. All right, well, now, as I was saying, moving on to the Jazz Clippers series. I'm going to go ahead and start gloating a little bit here because you wrote it off. You wrote it off pretty quick. You said this is Clippers, signed, sealed, and delivered. Started doing this crap. So far through 2 games, the Jazz are looking pretty good. They've been nail biters, both of them, no matter how the game starts. You started talking trash to me at the start of the first game because the Clippers came out and they imposed their will, and the Jazz were missing crazy shots, and then the Jazz did what the Jazz do and actually started hitting their shots. You look like you're pained by this. What happened? What's up?
I just don't.
You've lost a lot of money on those 2
I'm
games,
so
haven't you?
dumb. I did lose money, yes. I'm just so fed up with Paul George. Like, I'm so done. I defend this guy so much, and I'm so Matt. I'm so tired of it. I'm so done. Like, me and you, me and you are Paul George supporters. We were on the radio. We were on this show.
I still am. Don't loop me into this.
Well, you're only a supporter because he stunk it up for you so that your pick could be right.
Not true. Not true. I have my reasons, and I will enumerate them after you finish your point.
Listen, I don't care that he scored 27 points last night and went 8 for 18. I don't care about that. It was such a quiet 27. He hit a couple threes at the end of the game when they were down 10 and down 7 already. The game was over. I mean, he hit a couple free throws late that were absolutely meaningless. I thought he should have purposely missed one, actually, so they tried to rebound. Anyway, you look at game, and that's yesterday's game. Why don't we take a little trip down memory lane to game 1? You go into Utah, you go into a packed environment. The Jazz are off shooting. This was your chance to steal one. And I look at Paul George. Yeah, he had 20 points. Great. 4 for 17 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. He's just not getting it done. The trending tweet on Twitter last night, it was trending again, Pandemic P. Everyone just making fun of him with the memes and the different, Kawhi jokes about leaving. And it's getting so ugly. You are paid to be a star in this league. You're paid to be a star. You're paid to go win a title, quite honestly. That's what Steve Ballmer is paying these guys to do, is to win the Western Conference. And look at Paul George. You're getting outplayed by Joe Ingles. I mean, you're getting outplayed by Bogdanovich, who I love Bogdanovich. But, these things can't be happening. You look at a Jazz team who, like you said, their third star, if anything, is Mike Conley. He's not even playing. And Kawhi's doing his job, let me tell you. I mean, he looks... Well, what do you mean, He's
Look at the last game. Look at the last game.
It's not just offensively. I watch these games. He is working his behind off on the defensive end. He's absolutely gassed by the time they get down to the other end of the court. He's doing everything he can for this team, and in game one, I gave them a pass because they did. The Jazz were off for a week, and the Clippers did just get off a plane, and a tough game seven against obviously Luka and the Mavericks. But like, it felt like two games to steal. It felt like, and I know you didn't watch last night. The Clippers were down obviously at the half by 13, went down 19 in the third quarter. The Clippers took a 2-point lead in the middle of the fourth quarter. I believe it was 101 to 99. And right there, you could hear a pin drop in that stadium. If you're a Jazz bettor, you're screwed. All the momentum on their side. And what happens? They fold again. They just completely fold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Kawhi. It's Marcus Morris shooting 35-foot, shots. It's Paul George with his famous crossover step back three that barely grazes the rim. I mean, come on, Matt. And I'll let you go. But it's getting ugly. It feels like every time the Clippers play the right way, they roll. It feels like every time they say, okay, we're down 10. We're going to play the right way and get back into this game. And then the second they take a lead or tie it or get close, they do this weird this weird ISO, just not playing the right basketball type of style, and it doesn't work. And next thing you know, you're down 8. And we talked about this, and then I'll let you go. We said in the later series, you're not going to be able to get away with this. We said against the Jazz team who gets red hot and streaky. We said against even a Phoenix team, if you go cold like this and you kind of lose your focus, you'll be down 10 in the snap of fingers. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and spin you a little yarn here. I'm going to tell you a little tale, all right? One of my guilty pleasures is that I enjoy musicals to a degree. I enjoy musicals. I enjoy theater play. One of my favorite musicals is a movie called 1770. It's a play transitioned into a movie. I watched it in movie form called 1776. In this, there's a song in which John Adams ends the song by saying, he's singing to Congress here. He says, you should all thank God that you have John Adams to abuse, for no sane man would tolerate it. That is Paul George. And the Clippers had better thank Paul George that he is there to be the scapegoat for them. Because, man, if he wasn't, the hammer would come down so hard on some of these guys. Oh, man. I am telling you, man. You said one thing. You mentioned at one point during your rant, you said one name other than Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and that was Marcus Morris. Okay? I am so glad you actually mentioned him because he has been terrible this series. This man went 7 for 9 to put the Mavericks away. And then last game, statistically, this is looking at the box score here, 0 for 5 from 3, 4 for 11 from the field. All right, let's take a look at game 1. Marcus Morris in game 1. 4 for 14, 1 for 9 from 3. Oh, okay. If he hits one of those threes, the game goes to overtime. He's been atrocious. You can't just always blame Paul George for everything. Guess what? He's not playing his best basketball. But there are guys on that team playing worse than him. So let's start putting the blame where it needs to go.
But it doesn't matter to me because, yes, Marcus Morris is playing worse than Paul George, but that is expected.
No.
In other words, you look at Donovan Mitchell, he's going out there scoring 40. He's the star. Paul George is paid to be the star.
Paul George is paid to be the number 2. Kawhi Leonard is paid to be the star.
I said or co-star.
He's paid to be the co-star. He's paid to be number 2.
That's fine. But Marcus Morris isn't paid to go out there and score 30 and will them to playoff wins. He's just not. If you get 7 for 9 from him, like we did in Game 7, that's great. And that's what they're going to need to put them over the top. But this is round 2. This is round 2. At some point, you got to say, we got Kawhi Leonard. We got Paul George.
No, here's where you're wrong. Yeah, you're right. He's not paid to go out there and score 30. He's paid to go out there and score at least 10. He's not doing that.
10?
He scored 8.
Paul George is paid to score 10?
No, Marcus Morris is.
Oh, okay.
You freaking dingus. Okay, look. Marcus Morris, yeah, he's not paid to go out there and score 30. He's paid to go out there and at least hit 1 3. At least hit 2. Don't shoot 11% from 3 in a playoff game. Who the hell are you? You came out here flexing and talking. Now, you pissed me off, Mr. Calvacca. This guy gets paid to come out here and talk that talk and get rough and hit threes and be a tough, physical, hard-nosed guy. And he's just literally dropping the ball. He has played one of the worst playoff series that I've ever seen a player of any worth play because, yeah, he's not paid to go out there and score 30. He's shooting like somebody that is. He sure is taking those shots, right? Yeah, there's Paul George. There's the guy that's getting scapegoated for this guy's mistakes, okay? You can't just blame it all on one guy. Yeah, Paul George, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Kawhi Leonard only scored 21, okay? Put some of the blame on him. Yeah, he's playing defense. You should be able to play both. Guess what? That's what happens when you only play 40 games a year, okay? How about you go out there and get some conditioning, all right?
Give you that.
So, all right, let's look at it. Okay, Ivica Zubac didn't grab a rebound in 14 minutes. Looks like rebound-wise, they actually out-rebounded the Jazz. Wow, congratulations. Didn't do anything for you, did it? Here's the deal.
No,
you have to just go out there and play. For God's sakes, Reggie Jackson's out here getting buckets, and Marcus Morris can't put the ball in the hole. I mean, Patrick Beverly went 0 for 5. Luke Kennard, 1 for 1. He only took one shot in 10 minutes. He's not getting a lot of burn, but come on. You got to play the guy, Ty Lue. He was hot last game. He was almost the reason why you won last game. So let's just put the blame where it belongs. Ty Lue. Kawhi Leonard's not producing. Marcus Morris, terrible right now. Yeah, Paul George isn't scoring 35 or 45. Come on, man. Let's put the blame on somebody else as well. Let's point out that it's a whole problem, not just one man.
Well, I do have a serious problem with Ty Lue because here's the thing. The Luke Kennard thing, you know, he is my X factor. I said it at the beginning of the series, but the Clippers, look at Game 7 against Dallas, right? Crunch time. The whole game. Must win Game 7. Who stepped up on that team?
Game 7 against the Mavericks, you said?
Who stepped up that we didn't expect?
Marcus Morris.
No.
I mean, he went 7 for 9 from 3.
You said it on the show. Trey Mann.
Oh, Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann. Now, listen.
Add it to the list.
I don't get my name. So what does Ty Lue do? Down 1-0 at Utah with his team struggling shooting the ball. He plays Terrence Mann for 1 minute. He got 1 minute. That's a serious issue for me with the head coach, Ty Lue. And quite honestly, I don't know how much pull he has, but maybe Chauncey Billups can say something like, "Hey, Mr. Lue, let's figure it out here. You know, let's play Terrence Mann more than 1 minute, please, as you have Boogie Cousins on the floor for 11 minutes out there pushing Rudy Gobert and getting technical fouls. He almost got a technical yesterday because he can't keep his mouth shut with Rudy Gobert getting frustrated. I mean, like, what's the decision making there? I mean, I understand you need a big body with a guy like Gobert, but how does Mann get 1 minute?
Okay, well, you can't bring Cousins into this one because they need a guy to put out there at big man. Because here's the deal: the Jazz have 2 bigs. All right, that's 2. Count them. 1, 2. That's Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors. Okay.
Pat Beverly got 20 minutes, man.
He's getting paid $40 million. He better get 20 minutes.
But he went 0 for 5.
Yeah, okay, well, here's the thing.
0 for 5. I mean, like,
he
listen,
didn't
if
play well.
This is the playoffs. You can't
Nick Batum was the answer you should have gone with. I feel like I'm Hannibal Lecter here. You were on the verge. You were this close. It was Nick Batum you need to take issue with because he played 27 minutes and he didn't do anything. He never does anything. It's Nick Batum.
All these guys are just like, you can't think about the salaries when you're on the court coaching. That's what the problem, I think, is here. Like, he's like, oh, I got to roll with my guys. No, you don't. This is the playoffs, and you need to adjust. Yes, you have to roll with your guys as far as Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, even Marcus Morris to a point, Reggie Jackson. But when it gets past that, when you get into your depth in a playoff series, if it's not working, You need to make the correct adjustments, which I think he made in Game 6 and 7 of the last series. But now it's back to this garbage. How is he getting 1 minute? How is Luke Kennard getting 10? I mean, I don't hate that, but he's got to get guys involved. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here. Like you said, Nicholas Batum was terrible. Patrick Beverley was terrible. If you see these guys are off, it is your job then to make the adjustment to make it work on the fly. You have to improvise. And is improvising just going out there and saying, yeah, keep shooting. Shoot your way out of it. In the regular season, yeah. In any other scenario, yes. We always talk about good shooters. You got to shoot your way out of it. Not when your back is against the wall, about to go down 2-0 in another series against the number 1 seed in the West. That's being outcoached. And we both said this.
We could have seen that one coming.
The whole world knows this. Yeah, Quinn Snyder is going to outcoach Ty Lue 9 times out of 10, or 11 times out of 10. But it's just like, you need to make the necessary adjustments, and to me, the Clippers haven't. Now, I'm not going to write them off because they're going back to LA, and we've seen this already with them being down 2-0. I'm not going to write them off, and I will say they were in both games late and could have won. So I'm not going to say this series is over by any means. But the 3 takeaways for me is we need more adjustments out of the coaching staff in LA.
Mm-hmm.
We need we need more adjustments out of the coaching staff in LA. We need a little bit more to Paul George. I'm sorry to tell you, we need more out of him. I'm not saying he's got to go out there and score 50 because, like you said, he is the co-star. But you got to give us more.
Okay, well, ask Kawhi for that as well. And I'm happy. Ask Kawhi for that. Okay.
We'll go back and forth. I will sit here and argue with you. I can't ask Kawhi for more. He's doing everything. He's chasing Donovan Mitchell around like a madman, trying his best out there. Obviously, it's a pick-and-roll league, so he can't stay on him too much. But he's chasing him around like a madman. He's bringing the ball up for the Clippers a majority of the time.
And this is where the problem I have with the Clippers occurs. No one has thought to stop switching. That is all the Jazz do. They force you to switch. That's why Zubac is terrible. You want to know why? He's not a good fit out there. He can't guard a guard. And you want to know what happens when you run a pick and roll where you've got Donovan Mitchell being guarded by Kawhi Leonard and Rudy Gobert being guarded by Zubac? They set a screen with Rudy Gobert, and they switch, and then Zubac is on Donovan Mitchell. And now you have a worse problem, you freaking idiots.
Yeah,
stupid.
And it's amazing how the whole world can see that, and Ty Lue can't. But
well, that's the thing. That is the Clippers' defensive system. That is how Kawhi wants to play. Kawhi wants to switch, because Kawhi doesn't have that factor, and that's how I'm gonna say it. Kawhi Leonard doesn't have that dog mentality factor. That's why he doesn't play every game. He doesn't care about winning. He cares about getting paid. He cares about the glory of it. He doesn't care about winning.
No, that is absolutely insane.
Look at it. This guy
a shoe deal with New Balance.
Correct.
He doesn't care about glory and fame.
He does. Here's the thing. The dude doesn't care about winning. Whether or not you can say he doesn't care about glory and fame doesn't mean you can say he doesn't care about winning.
He cares about winning.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He does.
If he cared about winning, he would have signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. Instead,
if he cared about joining a super team and being a wussy with a W.
Oh, well, I wonder what happened then. I wonder why he told them to go get Paul George, because he wanted his own super team. He wanted to be the guy at the head. He wanted to be the Don. He wanted to be the head of the organization. And you know what happened?
All right, I'll ask you a question. Why did he go to Toronto?
He was traded to Toronto, you idiot. He didn't choose to go there.
Did he sit out? Did he demand a trade? Who was his co-star? What did he do?
His co-star was Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam.
If you watch, artist in the decade.
Here's the thing. Guess who didn't choke that playoffs? It was Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry showed up big, and you know who also showed up? Fred VanVleet. Okay, we can go round and round. You know who was very important in that series? Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol. Hey, guess what? Yeah, Pascal Siakam's not a number one.
Wait, actually, what's the Raptors series at right now? Hold on, let me check.
Yeah, I wonder what happens when you don't have an actual number one in the league. Because believe it or not, he doesn't care about winning. Here's the thing: that if he cared about winning, he would have stayed with San Antonio. But no, he didn't like. They didn't agree with him about his foot.
He went to another team and won the championship and won Finals MVP. What do you mean if he cared about winning, he would stay with?
He doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about winning. He's just out there because he's getting paid to be out there. I refuse. I will go round and round about this. He does not care about winning. Kawhi Leonard doesn't care about winning.
He might be, in my opinion, one of the guys who cares the most. He doesn't care about his brand at all.
He doesn't care about winning.
If you want to say resting in the regular season isn't cool, I agree with that. He should be playing.
Doesn't care about winning.
At the end of the day, it is the regular season. None of these guys care about what seed they come into the playoffs at. Look at the Lakers. That's
not true. A lot of times they do care. LeBron actually got upset because they were a 7 seed. And then remember how he was like, the play-in tournament sucks, when he really supported it before, and that was only because he was in the play-in tournament. He cares about seeding. He absolutely cares about seeding.
But it doesn't matter so much.
You want home court advantage?
At the end of the day, the Nets rested their starters. They were like, you know what? Philly can take home court. Like, it's different in the NBA. You got to go into the playoffs with fresh legs. It's how the league is. I don't agree with it. I don't. I'm with you. That I agree with you on. I'm not cool with it. Resting everyone, and you got guys I know we don't follow it that much. We got guys in the NHL getting in full-blown fights, losing teeth, breaking ankles, and they're out there skating the next day on a back-to-back for 40 minutes. I'm not cool with these basketball players. Oh, I can't play a back-to-back. Oh no, I'm sore. I'm with you on that. I am completely with you. These guys are getting paid way too much to do that. But at the end of the day, and maybe it's showing against them right now in this series because he does look gassed. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to protect their bodies so that they're ready for the playoffs.
Always happens. There were reports, and I'm surprised. I'm sure we're going to get them after this year if the Clippers make an early exit from the playoffs and anything short of the finals. But do you know what the reports were last year? Well, Kawhi Leonard was skipping cardio at practice, and the coaches supported it. And Kawhi Leonard demands that he has his own entire room to stretch in. He also demands that this and this and this and this. He doesn't care about winning. He cares about himself. He's self-centered, right? The most important thing to Kawhi Leonard is Kawhi Leonard.
You know what I think?
What?
I think you're right, but you're missing it a little bit. You're on the right track. I don't think it's that he just cares about himself. I really don't. I think, off the record, I think he's a little awkward. I think he's just a little socially awkward. I don't. You hear reports a lot about Kawhi Leonard. Like, these guys go out a lot together. They're best friends. You go out with your teammates. You go, you drink. You go to clubs. You go whatever the case may be. You see it on Twitter, like these insiders. It gets leaked and stuff. Kawhi's not with these guys. Like, they're not all best friends with Kawhi. Like, I think Kawhi's a little socially awkward, Matt. I think he's a little.
You can tell the guy's socially awkward from looking at it, but you can also see this guy listed that it was too cold in Toronto as a reason he went to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, that's
he listed it was too cold. He doesn't care about people. He cares about him.
Well, that's I don't think it's necessarily he doesn't care about winning. I just think he's a little socially weird.
If he cared about winning, he would be getting in shape. He doesn't have the Mamba mentality. He doesn't. He doesn't have that dog factor. He doesn't have that X factor. He doesn't. He just doesn't. And I'm sure you're looking at your phone right now. I sent you I searched up Trey Mann. I took a screenshot and I sent a pic. Trey Mann currently plays for the Florida Gators. Oh dear God. We're not going to discuss what was just said because that will get us canceled. But
all I said was he's a little weird. That's what I texted him. I said maybe he's a little weird.
Regardless, I sent Nick a screenshot of Trey Mann, who is a Florida Gators basketball player currently, and I said noted Los Angeles Clipper. And so, just giving him crap. He deserves it. Don't worry.
I just, I don't know. Listen. I love Kawhi Leonard. I want him. I've said it on the show. I want him to come to the Knicks. I want him to come to New York.
No, you don't. It's a terrible fit.
No, I really.
It's a terrible fit. It won't work. Kawhi Leonard will want to leave within the week and a half.
He doesn't want to win. I think
he doesn't want to win. He doesn't want to play. He's just there because he's getting money. He may kind of want to win when he's out there. He doesn't like losing, but he doesn't want to win. He doesn't crave victory. He doesn't crave winning. He doesn't. That's not the base desire of his soul. Okay, you look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe would have spit in your eye if it meant that he would win.
He's the best as far as
Michael Jordan craved it. LeBron craved it. LeBron would do most anything. He doesn't necessarily have the X factor sometimes, but he's just better than everybody else, and he flexes it.
Let me really quick, and we'll move on if you want. But LeBron loses his first round series to the Phoenix Suns last week, and after the game at the post game, did you watch his post game conference?
I don't have a TV.
He's talking about his movie, Space Jam, or whatever it is, after the game, cracking jokes. I mean, not a good look, LeBron.
You know,
like,
are you
what? Kidding me right now?
Here we go.
I just spent $5,000 to bring me and my 4 kids and my wife to the game, and you're cracking jokes about your movie after the game. You don't care that you just lost in the first round to Devin Booker.
I'm not big with conspiracy theories, but I'm just saying this.
Oh, give me a break. He went to L.A. knowing exactly
the parallels here, right? Okay, yes, he went to L.A. because he wanted to be closer to Hollywood, okay? Everyone knew this going in. LeBron was trying to sunset his career into a sunrise of another career in production company and movie stardom, all right?
Yeah, because he would have struggled so much to get a role in L.A.
It's easier, though, when you've been there for several years and you're already established. What I'm saying here is, though, you see the parallels, right? This feels like LeBron setting up a story. Okay? All right? Hear me out.
I'm listening.
What happened when Mike came back and lost to the Magic in, what was it, 93? 94? I think it was 93, 94. You know what happened? That summer, he went and produced the movie. The movie was named Space Jam. You know what's happening? LeBron's releasing Space Jam after making a first-round exit. All right?
Well,
and you know what happened the next year? Mike won the title. This feels like LeBron is still chasing the ghost. It feels like LeBron's still chasing the ghost, and it feels like he's trying to get his legend.
What's your favorite Tom Brady movie?
He doesn't have one because he's not a ham like LeBron and MJ were.
Okay.
All right, mister. Hold up now. All right.
Now, because I know your next thing is going to be... I know your next thing is going to be, he's 37 and he already won.
No. You here are the one who's always like, we got to respect the GOATs. You got to respect guys who are taking care of business. LeBron's taking care of business. You're saying that throughout the entire regular season, throughout the entire radio show, and now suddenly you're harping on LeBron because he's releasing a movie. Guess what? He was going to release a movie the whole freaking time.
I'm only harping on LeBron because, in my opinion, you're going to explode, and I don't care. He has one real championship. He does. A lot of people would agree with me on that, too.
Which one's the real one? Which one's the real one?
The one in Cleveland.
You mean the one with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love and that squad?
Love. Put that finger away.
Let me
pull
the one
up
with
Kyrie
stats.
Irving. The one with Kyrie Irving, yes.
Let me pull up Kevin Love stats here. Let's see.
No, forget stats.
No, there you go. Because you know that I will factually prove you wrong.
Okay, we want to go on stats? Fine. Matthew Stafford's been the best quarterback the last 10 years in the league. No one better. GOAT. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Hasn't?
That's what.
That's not what the stats say.
It's not all about stats.
In terms of clutch performance, he's been one of the top. Drew Brees is one of the GOATs. He is. He's one of the GOATs. He is the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Under 500 in the postseason.
Still the most accurate quarterback of all time. It's not his fault he never had a defense.
That's what I mean.
He should have left New Orleans then. He was in a bad situation. Tom Brady was in the perfect situation.
Great teams in New Orleans.
They
would go 13-3
defensively.
and lose to Kirk Cousins in the first round.
The Minneapolis Miracle?
No. The game 2
When
years
Drew Brees
ago,
couldn't throw a football more than 30 yards? Is that the one you're talking about? I can list stuff.
The miracle was Case Keenum.
Oh, you're right. My bad. My apologies. You're right. The next year, or 2 years later, was it, when it just they just miraculously just didn't get in because Drew Brees can't throw a ball that far, and then Kyle Rudolph got away with a pass interference in the back of the end. Sorry, an OPI in the back of the end zone. He shoved the guy in the back and then barely toe tapped to get in.
You
Yeah,
have
you
an
mean that
answer
one?
for everything with the guys that you love, and I respect it. But
Correct.
it's like,
I have it. I keep
oh
my bag
God,
stocked.
LeBron James shouldn't even have beat the Spurs the second time. If you want to get into that, I mean, Greg Popovich has Tim Duncan off the floor for that last rebound. Ray Allen should have never got the kick out in the corner. Half the stadium, you've seen the clips, half the stadium was empty. People left the stadium in Miami to beat traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
Because
over. He
game was
couldn't win with Wade and Bosch.
okay, but guess what? I'm pretty sure everyone wants to focus on that, right? Didn't LeBron score like 18 straight to get to that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he got them there, okay? LeBron trusts his teammates more than any other star has ever done, all right? Now you could say, well, Mike passed it up to John Paxton and Steve Kerr. Yeah, he did that 3 times in his entire career. The dude hated passing. He would rather be the guy taking. LeBron's
Okay,
fine with a statistically better 3-point shooter taking the shot. And here's the thing: I don't like LeBron. If LeBron wasn't on the Lakers, I wouldn't be defending him. What's up?
Michael Jordan, you just said. Who were the teammates you just mentioned?
John Paxson and Steve Kerr.
Okay, maybe there's a reason why he didn't trust his teammates as much as LeBron saying, "Here, Dwayne Wade, Hall of Famer, take the ball up. Here you go, Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer. Go post up."
Okay, you want to get technical
Ray
like
Allen,
that?
Hall
Tony
of Famer.
Kukoc, Hall of
Go hit
Famer.
a
Scottie
three.
Pippen, Hall of Famer. Steve Kerr, Hall of Famer.
Steve Kerr's not Hall of Famer.
He is because he's a coach.
Oh, give me.
Boom!
Suck it. You're a politician. You find your loopholes to everything. Steve Kerr, Hall of Famer. I think he averaged 7 points for his career.
He was also one of the guys in the 50-40-90 club.
My point is LeBron, Wade, Bosh, Ray Allen. It's just like
Ray Allen at the end of his career when he was bad and could only shoot
the
threes.
biggest shot.
He hit
That's my
one
point.
shot.
He
hit one shot, but LeBron got him there. LeBron brought that team back from the fans leaving the stadium to, okay, we need 1 point.
Yeah, LeBron got him there by placing the perfect rebound off of the complete brick he threw up.
No,
himself.
he missed that shot, but he hit like 7 or 8 straight to get them there. That's my point.
How did you get into this?
Because we were talking about Kawhi a winner not being a winner.
Oh my God!
I stand by that. Kawhi Leonard does not crave winning.
Matt, but you got recently. I'll even give you in the last 6 years. What guy really did it on his own? What champion can you mention really kind of did it on his own?
Dirk Nowitzki.
The only one. Well, I said in the last 6 years, but
Oh,
yeah,
in the
I'll
last
give you
6
that.
years?
I
There
love-
was nobody in the last
no,
6 years.
I love Dirk. I'll give you that. But besides Dirk, you can't think of guys who really have done it on their own.
Every single player has had at least a number 2.
Besides Kawhi, in my opinion, who's his number 2?
I'm
not going
telling
to give
you
you
that
Kyle
was-
Lowry.
Okay, you want to... Okay, you know what? Fine. Let's look at this, okay? The roster that he beat with the Warriors proceeded to be the 13th seed the next year. Okay? No Klay Thompson, no Kevin Durant, 13th seed in the NBA. No, sorry, 13th seed in the West. 27th in the NBA? Yeah, you're right. Congratulations, Kawhi. You beat a team that finished nearly dead last in the NBA. All right? Yeah, you won 2 games against a roster that was dead.
That was to close out the series.
KD was injured. They rushed him back from injury, all right? Then he went down again. You forgot. They need a small forward. That is the thing that the Warriors have always needed, is a small forward. I will defend Kawhi on this one. He won the series, but he didn't. It was easier than it would have been normally. If the Warriors were healthy, they win that in 5. Gentlemen's sweep.
Probably, yes.
So there you go. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard, congratulations. You won a ring with Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. At the time, Pascal Siakam looked like he was going to be a legitimate number 1 option because he was getting buckets. Kyle Lowry was getting buckets, being a really good floor general. That is one of the most complete teams we have seen win a title in a long time. And that's why I actually cherish that Raptors team, because that was team effort. That was team and scheme over players.
It was.
It was team over roster.
It got Nick Nurse where he is.
Deservedly so, because Nick Nurse is an incredible coach. This man took Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, and made one of the most dominant defensive cores ever, playoff wise. It was really fun to watch. I enjoyed it. I rooted for that Raptors team a lot. I rooted for Kawhi. I thought he was a little bit weak when he didn't stay, because he enumerated I don't like that it's cold in Toronto, so I'm going to go to Los Angeles. Shut up. You just want to go with the. You want to go with the.
Messing up the shot. The wind was.
You want to go where the lights shine brightest, and because you wanted to try and create a story for yourself. You wanted to go to the Clippers, and you wanted to start the story of how they were the younger brother, because he specifically toyed with the Lakers. I know you heard that report. I know you did. No, he toyed with the Lakers because he wanted to play with them.
I don't necessarily think it was because he wanted to to create a story. It's just, here, let me put it this way.
Then why would he toy with the Lakers if he didn't want to create a story?
Put yourself in the shoes of a star in the NBA, right? Free agency begins.
Mm-hmm.
I think over history would show us in free agency what's one of the top places you're not going. Toronto. I mean, what star is going to go be I'm going to, like we mentioned, I'm going to go with Kawhi, who I'm not even really going to be, friends with. He's kind of socially wrong. And I'm going to go up to Canada, move my whole family up out of the country into this place I've never been to in my life. And, it's like there's more into it is what I'm saying. It's like Kawhi knows if I go to LA, it's not so much for my story and my brand. It's I can get stars here. I can get guys who want to come to LA, want to win, want to play at Staples Center. If I stay in Toronto, who's coming to Toronto?
You just win with what you already have.
Paul George wouldn't have went to Toronto.
Paul George would have gone anywhere after that Thunder team.
Maybe, but if Kawhi stays in Toronto, Paul George is probably a Laker.
Which you would argue would be worse for me.
Yeah. I'm making the point, Kawhi's got to go where he thinks he can get guys to come and has the best chance to win. Who you're saying he doesn't care about winning. I would disagree with that. I think he cares a lot about winning, but he looked at that Raptor team and said, hey, like you said, this is probably a shot in the dark. I mean, the Warriors got hurt. At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and win multiple titles with Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry, and I believe Marc Gasol was on that team. He probably looked around at his guys and said, in his head, I got to get out of here. And it's because I want to win. I want to be able to recruit. I want to be able to have options, in free agency. And I don't know. I don't think we're never going to see eye to eye on this because I am a big Kawhi guy.
Here's the deal. I have had issues with Kawhi for a long time. I thought he was weak for his move to get out of San Antonio. Then he went to the Raptors and started to redeem himself. Then he went and intentionally toyed with the Lakers to just go to the Clippers and have somebody else come on. And I was like, all right, whatever, you do you. And then they talked all big and bad. They got knocked out by the Nuggets in the second round. And I said, these guys are a joke. And then I heard all these reports come out about how Kawhi Leonard was an absolute tool to all of his teammates.
That's what I mean.
I lost all my respect for the guy. He garners no respect for me because of that stuff. And then he goes out there and lets Paul George take all the blame when he's not performing either. Here's the deal. Yeah, you can say, oh, he's playing good defense. That right? It doesn't write it off. You have to show up on the offensive end of the court too. All right? Yeah, guess what? You can play all the defense you want if you're getting chased off of screens. All right? Your defense is to switch. You're not chasing anybody off a screen if you're getting switched. That's not how that defense works.
Here's my answer for you. If Kawhi's not showing up offensively, in your words, you just said that,
mm-hmm.
What would you consider Paul George right now on the offensive end?
Paul George, for a guy that's expected to not show up, is showing up decently. Because it's about expectation over reality. That's the answer. It's about expectation over reality. Kawhi Leonard is expected to get 35 a game. In the playoffs, you're supposed to ramp up your intensity on offense. He's only getting you 21 and 23 so far through these first two games. Paul George gets you 27 and 21. The expected value for Paul George is that he plays like he did in Game 1. 4 for 17, whatnot. Game 2, he goes out, he plays a lot better. Led the team in scoring with 27 points.
So now we expect four. So you're gonna say on the record we're supposed to expect 4 for 17 from Paul George in the playoffs.
I'm sorry, was Pandemic P not
So then he
trending?
stinks. If we're gonna sit here and say we expect 4 for 17 from Paul George, he stinks.
That is
and
the
he's not a good
societal
player.
that is the societal expectation of him. He showed
Then he's
up in
not
game
good.
2. He showed up in game 2. He gave me 27 points on 8 for 18 shooting. He showed up. He played. I expect 24 out of Paul George. All right? But people are telling me I should expect 4 for 17. Ergo, based on their expectations, he showed up.
Well, it's not hard to beat 4 for 17.
I mean, if it's Pandemic P, apparently it is, though. Because everyone tells me that Paul George is the worst basketball player ever in the history of the world. He got 27. Oh, it's all his fault that they're losing. He led the team in scoring, not his fault.
More credit. I'll give him more credit than you are. I don't expect that from Paul George. I expect a lot more. And
I said I expect 24 points on about 45% shooting.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody else tells me I'm wrong, though. So I got to go by their standings instead. Oh, look, he showed up. Oh, well. Guess you were wrong.
I guess they are, but I mean, if we're gonna sit here and say that guys making this much money, we have to go by what everyone on Twitter expects and all these fans expect. Like, no, that's absolutely. I'm not gonna sit here and side with you on that because people say the most absurd things, and as we both know, like
Societal expectation dictates Paul
people-
George is going to be terrible. So when he's not terrible, you have to point it out. You have to tell people that they're wrong so
But
that they know.
you're looking at the numbers too much from last night. Like he was bad last night.
What is there other than the numbers?
You're saying
It's the statistics.
quality, no crunch time shots. That's what I mean. Like
You said
yeah,
he hit 2 late threes and like 2 late free throws.
late threes, but they were down 10. They lost the game by 6. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, they literally were down 10 points with a minute left. The game was over, and then Paul George comes up the court and hits a 3. Like, you know, like I just it's.
No, he was trying to get his team the win from behind. He was trying to inspire the guys.
Like, where were you?
How dare
where
he?
were you when it was tied with 4 minutes left and you
Nobody-
were barely
nobody-
raising the rim?
Nobody says that when it works.
Where were you? Where were you when it was 3 minutes left? Your team was down 4, and you decide you're going to take the ball up, and you dribbled the ball off your foot, and it goes out of bounds. Like, where are you then?
Nobody says it when it works.
When does it work?
It works all the time when you see a guy just come out there and be a spark that ignites the team. He was trying to be a spark and it didn't
Well,
work.
but when does it work for him?
It hasn't worked so
What's
far.
his big? He's been in the league forever. I remember back when LeBron was with the Heat, we would say, "Oh, the only team that could beat them in the East is maybe this Paul George Pacer team."
Mhm, yeah.
And it's just like, but like
He actually
he's been
showed.
in
He
the-
used to show up back then. It was before everyone started getting on his case and gave him essentially the yips in the playoffs.
I agree with that, but like, where's his signature playoff? Like how long do we have to wait? We're literally sitting here. Here's what it's gotten to, and we can move on. We are on a show right now, right? Talking about Paul George, who makes a ridiculous amount of money to be a number 2 on a team trying to win a championship. It's gotten so bad that me and you are sitting here and you're arguing for him. You are arguing for Paul George to go 8 for 18, 2 for 6 from 3 with 4 turnovers and a minus 13 plus minus. You're sitting here arguing for that, saying that is a good game from Paul George. Is that how bad he is? Like, you are literally sitting here saying last night Paul George played a good game. You're okay with the game he played.
I'm pointing out how
and start
ridiculous the societal expectations of the NBA are. Okay, look.
forget society.
No, you can't forget society. We live in society. That's how this works. We are here. We have to live up to expectations that are
Society
presented
is
to us.
crazy. Society is stupid.
Yes,
We got
it is.
people-
I agree.
We got people who want The Rock to run. We voted Donald Trump as president. We have society. This is a ridiculous society.
Exactly. It's
We do
stupid, but it's the
stupid things
society
that don't
that we
even-
live in. We have to adhere to the rules of the things where we live in, all right? You
These
have to
two
play the
things
game.
don't make sense, and this doesn't make sense. Can you do me a favor? Go back and watch the second half of this game. Paul George did not play good.
Well,
What?
I said, well, it's the correct terminology there grammatically.
Oh, God. Give me a break. I met you at Alabama, sir. I didn't meet you at Yale.
Correct. You didn't meet me in Alabama.
didn't meet
All right. You know what I am? I'm a journalist.
Give me a break.
I'm a
We didn't meet
journalist.
We didn't meet at Yale.
I'm a journalist. Okay. Look, I know how to speak properly. Okay. I have spent so long educating myself on how to speak properly. I went to very good education when I was younger. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're not allowed to work me up like this and then get mad because I said good instead of well. I know how to speak too.
You have
me
to
a
speak
break.
proper English, Nick. Come on, man. We're professionals. Look at us. We're on camera right now as you drink your iced coffee in disgust.
Society tells us Paul George played good.
No, society tells us Paul George played terribly. We have to remind them that he is still a good basketball player. It is our job as members of the media to bring people back to the mean.
I think this was our most
Heated.
out of the month of doing the show. I think this was our longest back and forth, getting completely off track.
All right, now I feel like we should go ahead and at least briefly graze over these series here. The Hawks and the 76ers. The Hawks took game 1 in Philadelphia, and then the Sixers took game 2 in Philadelphia. Not much else to report. That's all she wrote. Back to Atlanta for game 3. I don't know. I think it's tonight. Yes, it is tonight.
Yep.
I mean, you said what?
The Sixers are 1.5 point favorites.
Ooh, ESPN says they're only 1 point favorites.
It might have went down. Yeah.
Things are getting closer. I mean, I like it. I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see what happens.
If they're going to... Yeah, well, let's move on because we want to talk about the other series, I'm sure. Not this one. But if Philly's a 1 point favorite at Atlanta...
Smash that line for Atlanta.
Well, there's that, yeah. But who are they beating after this series? If Philly's getting no respect, if Philly's a 1 point, if Philly's even against Atlanta, like, okay, they're done.
Yeah.
Like the road ends here.
Yep. They are a 1 point favorite against a 5 seed as a 1 seed.
Against a 5 seed who literally fired their coach midway through the year because they were playing so bad. Like, this is, we're talking about Philly, who won, like, how many games this year? I think they lost, like, 20 games.
Yeah, I think they were around 51.
So,
51 and 19 or 21.
So, yeah, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. We could move on to the more important series at the moment.
Yes. So, Nick and I would like to apologize because we were so devastatingly wrong about Game 2 of the Bucks-Nets series. Oh, my word. I don't think we've ever been more wrong about a single series ever. Well, a single game ever. I'll say that.
We could come back, yeah.
I'll say that. So, Game 1, James Harden goes down early. We say, oh, the Bucks should be able to take it. They lose in convincing fashion. Don't let the final score fool you. It was an 18-point game up until garbage time. Then comes Game 2, and we're saying, okay, the Bucks, we both thought the Bucks were going to go out there and take it, and then they got curb stomped. Frankly, they got destroyed because Brooklyn came out there and set the tone. They destroyed them and shot like 55% from 3. Ridiculous. They got destroyed. We were both very wrong about that game. And then comes Game 3. All right, so we were extremely wrong about Game 2, and we think, oh, God, this series is over. I was texting one of my friends. I said, dude, my heart hurts because I was so wrong about this Bucks team. I thought that they had so much more. They're just folding again like they always do. This is the measure of the team. And then Game 3 comes. The end of the first quarter, the score is 30-9. The Bucks are winning by 21, right? Giannis has 15. Chris Middleton has 15. I'm thinking, wow, man, these guys showed up to play. I just need, I'm going to need to start seeing some buckets from the rest of the squad, and I'm going to start feeling real comfortable with the Bucks. And then nobody else started hitting. And then the Nets closed the gap. And then the Nets took a lead. Well, no, I don't think they took a lead at that point, but they made it like a 3-point game after being down 21 in the first quarter. And then I just sat back and I said, well, here we go again. It's the good old Bucks. But somehow
They trailed by 3.5.
yep, somehow they straddled that bucking bull, and they stayed on, and it was whipping them around, and they managed to come out on top just narrowly because Bruce Brown panicked like 3 times, and it was terrible.
What was that?
I actually got to see the end of that game. Bruce Brown just trucked Kyrie Irving and then took the ball and took a bad layup, and then Drew Holiday hit an incredible shot. I was
Did you just see the last possession, the one you're talking about, or did you watch the last, 4 minutes?
I just watched the last possession.
Okay, well, that wasn't the only time he did that.
Really?
No, this was very ugly. What Bruce Brown was doing was atrocious, in fact. So, really quick, I'll give you a little backstory. Let's see it right here. So, oh my God. Yeah, with 20 seconds left in the game, with the Nets up by 1 point, Bruce Brown decided to take a jump shot amongst himself from the mid-range that missed. No one even talks about that. And before that, it doesn't stop there. I'm not done.
Oh,
With
no.
3 minutes and 33 seconds left, it was a tie game at 76. Bruce Brown misses 2-point jump shot. This was happening the whole fourth quarter, Matt. He missed 3 or 4. Here we go. 5 minutes left. Still a tie game, 76-76. Bruce Brown, turnover. Bruce Brown literally was throwing this game away for Brooklyn. Now, I happened to be watching this game last night at FanDuel Sportsbook in New Jersey. I was with a couple of my buddies. We went down there. We went over there to legally bet the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, I'm from New York, New Jersey area. So we kept our mouths shut because everybody there had a lot of money on the Nets, rightfully so. And the things that were being said about Bruce Brown in that room
Would get us canceled if we said them here, wouldn't they?
No, not even that.
Oh, really? Really?
No,
I was expecting racial things.
No, nothing racial. People of all backgrounds.
Oh.
Not happy with Bruce Brown.
Oh.
Not happy about Bruce Brown at all. Yeah, no, nothing disrespectful to that regard. Nothing racial, nothing. But as far as nobody in the room was happy with Bruce Brown. Now, I was very happy with.
Well, yeah, you were thrilled. You were
thinking
thrilled
about
with
going and ordering a Bruce Brown jersey, but
you need you need to get a customizable Bucks jersey and make it Bruce Brown's number and name.
Exactly. Yes. And so I mean, it was that was just funny, is because but to your point, this wasn't just that last possession. Bruce Brown was doing this the whole fourth quarter, and his teammates were kind of even you can literally look at their faces. Obviously they wouldn't say anything. It's their teammate, as far as a post-game interview or anything. But you're looking at these guys' faces, dude, what are you doing? He's literally putting his head down like it's 5th grade AAU ball and just going to the rack.
Some good old Eric Bledsoe ball.
Yeah, exactly. So, here's my thing. The Nets, the Bucks, the Bucks can win a game like this. The Bucks, it starts at the defensive end for them. Now, sure, they have a lot of sharpshooters, as we talked about. They could get hot. They can go off 40 and a quarter, as we saw against Miami. But everything all right over there?
Yeah, I'm good. I just, it's getting kind of hairy out there.
What happened?
Storm.
Oh.
I'm moving my mic over here because I had to turn my fan back on just in case the power goes out so it doesn't get too stinking hot in my room.
Yeah. But the Bucks can win a game like this. They can, because everything does start at the defensive end. Here's my problem. How many games games can you win like this? Like, the Nets scored, the Brooklyn Nets, of all teams, scored 11 points in a quarter yesterday. In a quarter. And like you said, they were down 19 after that quarter. And they were down 3.
Yeah.
Like, then they come out in the third, scored 23 points. Like, 18 they scored in the fourth. Like, this isn't going to happen. I don't care how good you are at defense. In today's NBA, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. In today's NBA, it's not like the old days. Like, the three-point shot can outshine a defense. Now, you're going to get games like this where the Bucks are just, their defense is incredible, and you got a guy like Bruce Brown out there just making a mess of everything on the offensive end. But my point is, Brooklyn had a lead in this game with under a minute, and Kevin Durant hit that three. Brooklyn was up 3 points with, I believe it was 49 seconds. After all that, after scoring 11 in the first quarter, after only having 18 points in the fourth, after only scoring 83 points total, Brooklyn led with 49 seconds left in this game. That's how good they are. Like, that's a dangerous, scary team who me and you are on the record picking against. Like, I don't want to go back on my pick yet because I think the Bucks still can have it in them, but I'm almost looking in the mirror like, what was I thinking? Now let you tell me what you think, but my confidence is shot. The Bucks won this game, yeah, and Giannis said after the game, which I agree with, Giannis was right. He said, doesn't matter if you win by 40, doesn't matter if you win by 1. The win is a win. But I'm not too confident after this win. I'm really 86 to 83.
So here's the thing, all right? This may have been the lowest scoring playoff game in the last 20 years, but here's the thing that I have for you, Mr. Calvacca, all right? I got a couple theories here, okay? First of all, this one's not a theory, this one's just a statement. Momentum does wondrous things. If you see the ball go in the hole one time and you're a great shooter, that's all you need. You see one go in, you have the feel, you've got it down, yada, yada, yada. That's all you need. I think that also applies to teams. You see one win, and you know you can do it, okay? So, look at what happened during the Heat series, okay?
Yeah.
Heat Bucks. They almost dropped game 1, and you specifically said, nah, they're done. The Heat are going to win this one. It's over. The Heat. You look at that game, the Heat know what they're doing. The Bucks took that momentum and put it into game 2. It ticked them off, all right? So what we saw was that same hard-nosed win here. And I think that next game, they're going to come out firing. Because if the Bucks come out firing and they are hitting the way they were hitting against the Heat, I believe that they cannot be beat by any team in the NBA.
Yeah,
and the reason why, I'm actually going to go ahead and pair this with something else here. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I ramble, so you're good.
But with game 1 and 2, I believe the reason why we saw that one being those two being so uneven, was I believe that the argument of rust versus rest has some issues here. Okay, so you know what I mean when I say rust versus rest?
Explain.
So rust versus rest means that, yeah, sure, the Bucks swept the Heat. Got them out of there in 4. They also played before the Nets Celtics did.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
So, is it more rest or is it more rust?
Yeah, momentum was killed.
Exactly. They killed all of their momentum because they had so much time off. The Nets had much less time off because not only did they only gentlemen sweep them, it was a 4-1 series. It took them longer. The Bucks also played before them. And then the Nets had an additional probably 5 or 6 days of staying in playoff mode before this happened. So then the Bucks had like a week off where they were like, we don't know who we're playing. I mean, we can assume it's going to be the Nets. It's probably going to be the Nets, but we still don't know. How do we stay hot? I don't know. And you don't. So then that leads to you come in and you get popped in the mouth early on. And it becomes a question of like, oh no, what do we do? Oh, I'm hurting. Crap. And then in game 2, you still can't quite put the cap together yet. You just can't figure it out. And then comes game 3. You still didn't get your momentum together, but you ground theirs to a halt. And that starts your momentum. That's my theory. I think the Bucks are going to come out, and I think if they are firing, they're going to win game. They're going to win Game 4 by 15.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could happen. And at the beginning of the series, we were on the same page, I think, with this series. I'm looking at Brooklyn's line now, and like I said, I obviously watched the game, but I didn't even realize this. I mean, Joe Harris, 1 for 11, 1 for 7 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, that's probably not going to happen again.
You're right, but how much of that was him missing open shots, and how much of that was good defense by the Bucks? Because if you get a hand up in shooters, they're not just if they hit that one, they hit that.
Yeah, and I was gonna back you up by saying it goes both ways because Brook Lopez 1 for 7 as well. Probably he'll be better. PJ Tucker 0 points, 0 for 4.
Drew Holiday played terribly this game too, and he hit the game-winning layup.
Exactly. And, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I mean, you're looking at the stat line, it goes both ways. Bryn Forbes, he's 0 for 5 from the three-point line. I mean...
Doesn't happen. That doesn't happen twice.
Everybody was off. So people are going to say, oh, here's my thing, though. And here's what I think favors us with picking Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are going to come back. Like, Holiday is going to be better. Lopez is going to be better.
Bryn Forbes is going to be better. The human flamethrower. I mean,
that's the thing. The Bucks are going to get better. When I look at Brooklyn's stat line, this isn't like, oh, this will get better. This is like, oh, no. Aside from Joe Harris, this is what it is. Mike James came back to reality.
Mm-hmm. Regression towards the mean.
Claxton in 17 minutes with 2 points came back to reality. To me, this is good for the Bucks because they're saying we grabbed the win and all these guys were off who are going to play better. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Nets, I'm saying,
crap.
Uh-oh, because now reality sat in for Mike James, Claxton, Landry Shamet.
Hey, Landry Shamet is a good three-point shooter. You shut your mouth about that man.
Yeah, he's okay. But you obviously see my point here.
I see your point, yeah.
It was definitely a little bit of a reality check. Blake Griffin, no, you're not getting 18 points and 4 for 6 from 3 out of Blake Griffin every game. Everything kind of settled down back to reality a little bit, and I'm not going to go out and say it yet. It was one game, but they might need James Harden because this, to me now that reality did set in and they were away from the Barclays Center where everything just happened to be falling, now I'm looking at this team and I'm genuinely seeing a two-man show. And a two-man show works in a regular season. A two-man show works against the Celtics, and it probably, quite honestly, would work against Philly. A two-man show doesn't work against this Bucks team.
If it's the same situation that we said against the Jazz, all right? When they hit, you don't beat them. And if you don't have the most well-rounded scoring, then you're going to need a miracle. And so far, the miracle has been that the Bucks have been atrocious offensively these last 3 games. And they couldn't... Here's the thing. The Bucks were terrible last game, and they still won. All right? That means they can. That starts belief.
Yeah.
What that was. That starts belief. That means that they can do it. It's in their heads now. They think, we can win this. Come on. Go out there, take game 2, and then here's the deal. This is the most important mentality part of this, okay? You have to go and win game 2 in Milwaukee, game 4, right? If you win game 4, it's a 0-0 series. At that point,
in fact, if they win game 4, we said it from the beginning, so this isn't a flip-flop. The Bucks win the series, I think. Clear cut, just that'll be, everything.
If they keep their rhythm going, I believe that if they get their rhythm and they keep it going, I believe the Bucks can win, especially with the defensive performance that they put on. Because you know who freaking showed up? Giannis and Chris Middleton. That is big that they both showed up in the same game.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt you. I have one big problem. Just one.
With me?
No. With this game, with the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know the player I'm talking about in a second. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Do you know how many 3-pointers they shot each in this game?
I would say they took.
Each.
I'd say they combined for 9. Katie took 4. Kyrie took 5.
No, Kyrie and Kevin Durant both shot 8 3-pointers in this game. Okay, wait, but that's not even the issue. Here's my problem.
Should have shot 9.
Um,
Bruce Brown.
One of my favorites, but I have a serious problem with this. Giannis Antetokounmpo decided to shoot 8 threes last night. Okay.
Well, okay. Here's the deal. I'll give you that,
one
but
for 8 from 3.
correct. Here's the thing. All right. It's the Ben Simmons argument, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't shoot those threes, you'd be yelling at him for not shooting.
No.
If you turn your back to the guy, he has to shoot.
Do it in the regular season and see how it goes. And then in a playoff game, listen, if you're hot, if you make 1 or 2, shoot 5. Shoot 5 threes if you're Giannis. I mean, I don't have a huge problem with that. But if you're not hitting Giannis, you can't go 1 for 8 from 3. There was a possession, and again, I want to just tell you a story because I know you didn't watch it. There was a possession late in this game. There was 2 minutes left. There was about 18 seconds in the shot clock. Giannis comes up the floor. I think it was tied at 76, and I'll just get it right here. I got it right here for you. There was 76-76. Yeah, Giannis comes up the floor, and he's doesn't even look around. He just pulls up like he was Steph Curry. Just like pulls up. Literally, Matt. I'm not lying to you. I told you how everyone there at the sports book had the Nets. Everyone just started laughing. Like it was such a bad shot selection, and then wasn't even close to going in. And I'll let you go, I'll let you defend him. But I look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving shooting 8 threes each in this game. If I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo, don't shoot 8 threes and get in the 3-point shootout with these guys. That's not your game. I'm complimenting him. I'm trying to say, here's a guy where I look at can get to the rim at will. He's the best at it. Don't settle. Why are you settling?
And look, in that specific instance, you are correct. He settled. But my argument here is this, and we should probably go ahead and get out of here. We've been live for an hour and a half. With that, I have no problem if he takes 7 threes. Obviously, cutting the one out where he walked into it. It was a rhythm 3. I mean, you can make arguments that that's fine.
I get it.
But my biggest issue with Ben Simmons is that he doesn't even try and shoot when the guy has got his back turned towards him, facing the basket, and he has 15 feet of space. He sits up there dribbling like an idiot, looking around. All right, and now I would even argue for Giannis's whatever it's called for his in rhythm 3, because maybe that's him trying to get himself going. With the star of the team, you have to have a little bit of leeway in what they do. Obviously, if it's within the offense to a degree. I'm sure the play was drawn up for Giannis anyways. So he just said, I was going to take the shot. I might as well take it here because I'm open.
Yeah.
And now, funny enough, I'm actually going to bust your chops here with this one. Do you know, in Game 3 of the Bucks-Nets regular season series, do you know how many threes Giannis shot?
How many?
8. Do you know how many he hit?
4.
Yep, 4 for 8. So this is what he does against the Bucks, because the Bucks' specific way of guarding him is leaving him open.
The Nets.
Exactly. The Nets' specific way of guarding him is leaving him open. So he's like, I'm used to this. I know what you guys are going to do. I know how to play you. And so he's shooting the threes, and it wasn't falling last game, but maybe it'll fall next game.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, here's my thing. I'm cool with it. Like I said, if you want to shoot 5 or 6, it's a 3-point league, and the fact that he's trying to infiltrate that into his game can make him extremely dangerous. I don't have a problem with that. My issue is you're in a tie game with 3 minutes left. You're 1 for 7 at this point from the arc, and you have Kevin Durant on the other end for, in a tie game. Is that the best time to be trying to find your rhythm?
You forgot one thing, though.
What's that?
They also have Bruce Brown.
That's true. Now that's true. That's probably what Giannis was thinking.
We'll get this back anyways. Who cares? We got this one in the bag, man. Bruce Brown's on my side. Check cleared.
And this is all positive stuff. This game from the Bucks, that was just my one minor like takeaway negatively. It was like I don't necessarily need Giannis 1 for 8 from the 3-point line. I mean, you look at even Chris Middleton. He only shot 6. He went 3 for 6 for 3 in a good performance. Which just flip flop that. That's my only thing. How about Giannis? Let's shoot 4 or 5, like you said. See if we got it. And then let's let our Drew Holidays, our Chris Middletons, or even Brook Lopez's of the world, like shoot the three. That's just not, to me. That's moving forward. That's going to benefit Milwaukee a lot more. And Giannis shot. This is we talked about. This is a 3-point shooting team, correct? They can shoot the lights out. Giannis shot the most threes on the team last night. The most on the team, with 8. So that was my minor negative takeaway. Not a big deal, but I just wanted to get that out and see what you thought about it.
Yeah, and I mean, he took the most threes on the team. He's also the star of the team, and sometimes stars got to do what a star's got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go out there and you got to kind of show your tail end a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, like obviously you said, they weren't always the best shot selection, but you're the star. Sometimes you have to just go and try it.
Hey, I hear you.
All right, well, I think that's all we've got for you all today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're sorry we got off on a big tangent there in the middle.
One thing, I ended the last show saying unless something changed, I was going to have a lot to say about the Yankees. We're going to hold off on it for now because I don't know if it changed or not yet. They won 2 in a row, Tuesday and Wednesday. They won 2 in a row. And I thought, okay, here they come. And then last night, they have a 5-3 lead in the 9th inning with Aroldis Chapman in the game, and they lose 7-5 and get walked off. So we'll see how they rebound from that this weekend. But it's, I don't know, Matt. I mean, I don't know if you want to say anything. I know you don't really care too much about baseball.
I don't know a daggone thing about baseball.
Yeah. But, I mean, they win 2 out of 3, obviously, these last 3 games, as I just mentioned, against Minnesota. But, again, just getting on that flight, leaving with a bad taste in your mouth again, because of the fact they got walked off last night in the 9th. And they still remain 6 games back of Tampa. Now, this is what I said. It's going to be very hard to catch a team like Tampa because they don't lose. 6 games feels like 12. So we'll see. We'll touch on that next week, but I'll let you close us out here.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone who tuned in and who will tune in. Thank you so much for watching. It has been our pleasure to present to you another edition of the Nick and Nash podcast. We'll be live here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless something changes. And so, without further ado, we bid you adieu. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.